What is up, my riders? So we're gonna start this plain and simple as fast as I possibly can. I have 2 boxes over here that came and sent me radiator size hoses that were humongous, and I needed tiny hoses. OEM parts that are actually supposed to come on their way to Volkswagen, the actual dealership near me, tomorrow. As OEM Volkswagen parts. So the rail that I had, like I said, there needed to be a bung that comes off where the turbo coolant feeds back down and makes it a looped system. I have that piece. This is how it'll be, essentially. Turbo feed, which I figured, okay, so this one is the bigger portion. There's 2 portions that go into the block. One obviously is smaller and this one is huge. I got a coil pack that I can install. My other one, this clip broke, just like so. And then have this come off and then snake into the hard line that goes off this and into the turbo. So we're gonna install this quickly. Guys, so you know from yesterday, you know from this video, or if you follow me on Twitter, that the SD card that I was using to record all this crashed. So I'm going to show you guys kind of what I did yesterday, just to sum it up so you guys know kind of how to do the coolant portion of this. Yesterday, I started to work on the water pump, and I thought it was the actual water pump that was the secondary. Turns out it's not. The secondary is like this little, I'll show you guys a picture on screen, but it's like this little, just small regulator pump that pushes out and pushes down, and it just kind of moves the coolant because it's at like a kind of like a flat part, a flat portion that it doesn't smoothly, and you delete that for the conversion. So I'm going to show you guys that real quick and everything that has changed. Yesterday, the coolant feed for the turbo came. I was worried because there's 2 feed portions for the coolant on the actual engine block itself, and one is humongous, one's small, and I was like, well, what would be the humongous coolant portion that feeds back into the engine? It's the actual feed itself piece. I have all the hoses that come off, and I'll show you that on screen now for this. The one portion I need is the secondary coolant drain that goes back into the engine block. And the hoses came, and I also got the new coil pack in. So this is the busted one. I'm gonna show you guys real quick. It was super easy to install this. Lines to show you, I left them down in my room. But the new hard line, and I'm going to show you the parts and the list, and I'll list them down below too. But this is the same coolant hose that comes out of the reservoir. So it snakes down, comes into this hard line. This hard line piece I had to buy separate. It's for the Mark 7 platform. Has the actual bit itself on here that wasn't on the other one for the drain from the turbo. So that's the other part that we're getting tomorrow. There's a hard line that goes from here underneath, snakes over the top of the head and out, and it's gonna hook into this, and then there's gonna be a small hose portion that comes with it that connects that hard line piece that comes down to the turbo. The turbo has a coolant drain right there that faces this way. So when the turbo's up on the manifold, it's gonna just have this hose connect to the hard line, come down, feed into this. Removed a lot of these hoses to get things out of the way yesterday, but after this is all said and done, I'm gonna turn the flash on for you guys to see this. So after that, right underneath here, there's a hose that comes off that, goes across and into the top of the radiator. You actually have a piece that's gonna come off here. I actually might have that piece laying around somewhere. I will show you guys that in a second. But there's a quick disconnect right there. You pull it off and the hose that came yesterday, it was this. It has this Y and then this other portion that comes off. And I was like, well, where does that go? You actually run this into that, and then the Y comes off down there. And I haven't installed this yet, but I'm gonna wait till tomorrow to show that all in the video. This hose portion and goes up to this side of the DSG cooler. There's a secondary water pump under here in between the intake and the actual block itself. I thought when I started working on it, it was this. That is the actual main water pump. You don't want to delete that. You want to delete the secondary auxiliary water pump. I probably won't be able to get under here to show you because I lowered the car down for the room. This right here. And what I did was remove the hoses and unplugged it. You don't have to do anything more because nothing is feeding into that. Clamping it back, you use a T and it'll hook to that, going this direction, and then come off of the DSG. But otherwise, that'll come up. These hoses will meet with this T. Then the actual T portion itself feeds up into the top, the feed of the heater core, which puts coolant in. Warm, comes out cold. Then you have it come out this way, and essentially what is going to attach is going to be on screen, but it's also going to be part of this. Once I get all the coolant for the turbo hooked up, the coolant drain for the turbo, the feed for the oil is already connected. I'll show you guys that in a little bit. And then the drain is 2 hard pieces that are already attached. It just needs a small hose to attach it together. It'll be good as done for that. That's the hard part. Charge pipes are 3 pipes that are coming. The only bad side about that is they're going to take a little bit longer. It's going to be probably the beginning of next week how long these places take to ship things. So the charge pipes for the old turbo, since the turbo is flip-flopped, the actual charge pipes itself that enter the cold side of the turbo would go from here and then would come out here and then go into your intake. What they're doing now is opposite. Obviously it's opposite sides, so you're taking the cold side and wrapping these 2 pipes in down to the bottom of the intercooler. Then it comes out and will snake up into the intake. It honestly looks easier than how mine was set up, so that's a plus. Other than that, that's the only other like complicated thing, just because it's going to be complicated because things are going to be in the way. The downpipe that is going to go on right after that this is all set up. Then I'll install the turbo inlet, which is just 1 bolt, and it screws in, comes off of the other side of the cold part of the turbo. That I'm talking about that hooks up to the charge pipes is the turbo muffler. Downpipe, like I said. Then I have to put it on the trickle charger for a little bit because, like I said, the battery somehow died. Then, yeah, other than hooking up the electronics that were unplugged and stuff and making sure everything is good, I have to unplug, like I said, fuel pump. I think you can actually unplug the fuse. I don't know if I want to go through the trouble of removing all my back seats. Then what you're doing essentially is you're just preventing fuel from overflooding the cylinders. Basically what you're going to do is crank it over for 15 seconds, they say, just to get the oil and the coolant primed through the system. Part is, once you have all this installed and all this set up with the coolant and everything, it's as easy as taking the IS-20 off, putting the IS-38 on, because you already switched over to the Mark 7 platform, which when it comes to the turbos and stuff, you can switch over the Golf R S3 turbos back over to the Mark 7 GTI, but it was different with either of them on the Mark 6 GLI. There's a lot to come. The cool portions, the first startup, the drive-by of the exhaust, pulls with the new power, all that good stuff is going to be next week, but it's going to be the well-awaited parts. So I hope you guys stay tuned, and I hope you guys like these things I wanted to make sure that you guys knew everything that happened yesterday, even though I didn't get to show you the work itself because all the footage was lost. I hope you guys are as excited as I am with this whole project and ready to get it done, because I am. I love you guys. Make sure to be happy, stress less. I'll see you in the next one. As always,